scarcity creates innovation. And right now, I mean, our region is facing some headwinds with budget cuts and whatever, but that scarcity is it's gonna force you to think differently.
For the first time ever, I've wanted to do this many times.
What are we talking here? Are you talking about wearing a hat on the show?
Yes, we are. Yes, I am. I'm not going to do it the whole time. I'm not going to do it. Actually, that's probably a lie. I probably have put on someone else's hat at some point on the show, but was just gifted this marathon consulting hat. And actually, a lot of times we talk about this all the time. You don't want crappy swag. When you hand out crappy swag, it goes straight to the trash can. This hat?
Well, I mean, not necessarily to the trash can, but it will sit on a shelf and generally not be worn. But I will say that is it's a pretty sweet lid, if you will.
Are you a sticker on, sticker off kind of guy?
I'm a sticker off fella.
Yeah, me too. This is ridiculous. I can't.
But shout out to Marathon.
Yeah.
With the sweet swag.
Got this from Mr. Tom Marsden, who
I would like to congratulate as the new chairman of Innovate Hampton Roads.
Shout out. Okay, so I was delighted. I sat in a meeting with you this morning, and I've never been to one of these before. And,
the old annual board meeting.
Yeah, what a whirlwind. And I asked you yesterday, can I bring anything? Bring some food? The idea of Donut Dugout came up. And like I said the other day on one of your LinkedIn posts, you had me at hey. So I was like, let's go. So I brought 18 donuts. I believe 4.
Did you count them up?
It was correct. We walked from the garage at MacArthur Mall, RIP, to Assembly, which isn't that far. But I had 2 boxes of donuts. Someone should have gotten a picture of me in these things. They were heavy.
The crazy thing is, Zach, is that there were a box that fits a dozen donuts only can hold 6 apple fritters.
No. It held 15 or 16 donuts on that other one.
Oh, they throw a little extra in there?
They did throw a little extra in there now that I counted. Hold on a second. Let me think about this. Nope, there was 14 in there. There was 14 donuts and 4 apple fritters. The 14 donuts were on one box. The 4 apple fritters were on another.
See, I thought there was 6 apple fritters. You took a picture, though, no?
Yeah,
there's that. Fact check.
You know what? Let's do that.
But
this is... I can't wear this hat. It's just obnoxious. But I do like this. And I think I could wear this. I've been thinking about getting a new hat. It's breathable. It's nice. Now I don't have to get one. Thank you to Aaron and Tom Marsden over at the Marathon Consulting. If you haven't checked out their video, Disrupting the Tide, I learned a lot about that. That company from that. So cool stuff. How was your donut this morning?
It was great. I typically, normally I don't hit something that of that size and stature so early in the morning. So,
okay, there's 5 apple fritters and there's
you should,
so there's 20 donuts. Okay. This is, oh boy. Okay. So I thought I ordered 18. I ordered 20 allegedly.
It was on point. It was good stuff.
It was lovely. What's on your mind, Mr. Ryan?
Well, there's always a challenge when there's a live show. Well, it's not a challenge for us because we do this we record every Thursday at 11. Mm-hmm. This is part of what we do. People can expect that. We don't do it. We don't advertise that it's live at 11 because we're trying to get the largest audience per se. We do this in the sense of if people want to join live, they certainly can. They can throw comments in the chat, whatever, and we can yuck it up that way. But we choose to do it at 11. So always comes with a little bit of risk in case there's a last minute cancellation. And that was the case today. So There you have it. That is what's on my mind.
Okay.
But
and you know what's on my mind?
Sharing this picture.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go.
Okay, 5 apple fritters.
5 apple fritters, and then we had 5 Boston creams. No, 3 Boston creams. Looks like 5 glazed. 3 coconut crumb. 6. No. 4 glazed. 2 maples. 3 blueberries. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want the record to know that the man to my left, maybe to your right, or vice versa, he ate the entire thing. Weight 16.5 pounds of one donut he ate this morning. Congrats, Tim.
Well, it was as we talked about before the meeting, it was a very humid morning. Yeah, I came back drenched, dripping, and I need a little something to refuel the body, if you will.
I did have a little. I had about 1/8 of an apple fritter in the last 20 minutes.
Is it kicked in?
I mean, like, am I tired?
No. Did you get a little sugar rush yet, or?
I'm not sure. I think these things are so large that you really can't eat the whole thing. So it's absolutely mind-boggling that you're able to do this.
Yeah.
I heard some interesting information today. So sat in on the Innovate 757 board meeting, of which this was Paul Hirschbiel's like swan song, if you will, right? He's like leaving. He's like
stepping down as chairman.
And during this call, you said something interesting that I never knew before, where you asked him, you called him and said, "Hey, Paul, can I have a couple minutes?" You guys met at Patrick Henry Mall.
Yeah.
Which, shout out to Patrick Henry Mall. I haven't been there in forever.
Right.
And, he really helped and guided you. And then you guys ended up working together. I thought that was a cool story that not a lot of people knew about. And there were Nancy Gearden, shout out to her. John Paris saying some positive and nice things about him as well. And that was cool. It's always cool to hear like what story someone relates back out kind of during their like, I'm going to call it a retirement party, but during the retirement party, like I remember when Jim Carroll retired, they said, does anyone want to talk or say something? And I think I went up there first, maybe second. And
yeah, you and I were one of there. There was only a couple people who went up, and you and I were.
I think people get, they get a little nervous talking in front of people, whatever. But I don't think I was going to say anything. I didn't go into it thinking this. But the first thing that came to my mind, and I do think this is true, and maybe we even shared this on the show before when it happened, but he not come. I guess I had military people in my family, but I don't really look at it like I came from a military family type of thing. So I didn't grow up thinking that. But living in this town, obviously, there's a ton of sailors and a ton of, service men and women. And one thing that I always learned from Mr. Jim Carroll, who, by the way, has long locks now. They call that lettuce. His lettuce is just like.
Is that what the kids call it?
Flowing like the wind or whatever. Yeah, ridiculous. By the way, I said the word slaps yesterday. Oh, that slaps. And someone looked at me like I was crazy. So he taught me this thing where it's kind of like the Vince Lombardi rule, if you really will. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're 10, or, if something like if you're not 5 minutes early, you're late type of thing.
Yeah.
And so like we used to grab breakfast, I don't know, once every couple of weeks, once a month, something like that. I used to get there 5 minutes early. He has already had like 2 cups of coffee. I'm like, dude.
Military man. Military rule is 15 minutes early. If you're not 15 minutes earlier, then you're late.
I really despise people being late.
Yeah, I do. I hate being late in like, this bridge tunnel, especially construction. I'm either.
I know it happens.
15 minutes later, 30 minutes early. It's just amazing how much it can swing.
Yeah.
And it just instantly swing.
Yeah.
But yeah. Super grateful for Paul. For a lot. Yeah. He is a true behind the scenes leader. So this organization wouldn't be what it is without him getting everything started 14, 15 years ago.
Yeah, that was something I thought was crazy too. Like, I remember it being started way back when, because they used to have these meetings, and I guess it was Start Wheel back then and whatever.
Yeah.
But
Paul being being co-founder of 757 Angels with John Paris.
Yep. It's just crazy to, you just start hearing those years and you're like, wow, that's crazy. That was,
yeah. I mean, that's one of the
yesterday.
things you have to be, I don't know, you have to be a special person to assume the roles that we assume, in the sense of, because we're not doing it for ourselves. But it's crazy. Paul did it for the good of being a good human being. And when you think about the number of people that he has impacted over the course of 15 years, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've recently learned about it. You saying that is interesting. It reminds me of this, something I heard when Jim Ursay, the former owner of the Indianapolis Colts, has passed away, and how he was very secretive in his donations to people and helping people. And like, he'd see something on the news and he'd immediately go fix it, but he didn't want his name attached to it in any kind of way. So like, apparently he's like donated is probably the right word, donated like $100 million to people, stuff like that. And like really helped the need, those who are in need and stuff like that. And you hear these stories and you don't know who it's tied to. It's you kind of got your own little Santa Claus every day of the year for something. And it's pretty cool to hear that. And then literally to hear the story about how Paul basically kept the organization alive on its own dime for a while like that. And then to see where it is now, that's pretty cool just to hear that and just be like, okay, like, this individual, walked the talk, but also put his money where his mouth is. And, I can appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And like, I know I'm the type of person, like with you and your Kickstarter with your first book. What was it? Anomaly, I believe is the name of that book.
Well, if we're talking to Lauren Craylow, shout out. I am modeling.
That's right. But yeah, I was. I remember. It was a little game that you did your Kickstarter, and I wanted to be the last one to put you over the goal.
Oh, okay.
And I don't remember and I don't know if it came up in conversation, but it was just like, I'm the guy that's going to think about you first, but I'm also going to be the guy when everyone else moved on to something else, I'm still thinking about you. And that's when I put my little Kickstarter bid in, if you will, just to take it over the top.
Very cool. Well, I appreciate that all these years later. And I haven't read that book in a long time. Maybe I'll reread it. Actually, I started reading it about this time last year, and I got through a couple chapters. And then I did something else. I was like, I've read this. I don't need to read this again. I live it. Like,
yeah.
What are we doing? So I haven't. We've had this cup for a long time, but I haven't used it. But I know you used it. The infamous Yeti from Portsmouth Partnership. Nope. Portsmouth Economic Development. Apologies.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to them, Kristen, for helping out Tim live out his childhood dream of getting a Yeti can.
Well, the thing is though, now is that I've missed that boat. Everyone has a Stanley now. I'm the guy that's just happy that I got a Yeti. Everyone's moved on to the Stanley, so I'm still not part of the.
I got my haircut the other day, and the place next door is called Hot Works. And at the Hot Works, there's literally a sign. I think it's like hot yoga. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm not hot. Like, I think that's what it is. There's a sign on the door that says absolutely no Stanleys. And so I don't know if it's because they blow up in there or something or what, but I just thought it was funny that they have.
It's just someone hating on the Stanleys. I don't know.
Yesterday, I was in Virginia Beach, Virginia, for, I don't know, a 2-month away walkthrough with the team at the Sandler Center. Was there with Alan Hagerman.
Shout out to the vice chair of Innovate Hampton Roads.
Shout out. And also Chris Lane, who is the photographer, videographer, who did many of my videos that you've seen in the past, including the anomaly ones. And he and his company do live streaming. They do videos. They do tremendous work. So we're doing a walkthrough there. Because the venue is so big, you have to make sure that you have the right equipment on game day. And so there were some measurements. There were some pictures being taken.
How did you measure? Was it like a laser? Was it a tape measure?
I'm not sure. I was talking to the Sandler team during that, but I can see him moving, scoping it out here and there and over here. And so there was a lot of that. The picture I showed you from not inside the stage, but from the actual crowd, he took that shot. Then we had a really big conversation with them about where to put the presentation. What do they call that thing?
The screen?
The screen down. Do you want this screen? How high up do you want it? If you go too far, there could be this happening. And so there is a back and forth of there. You also can have this little backdrop here. It could be
I
this.
can tell you one thing. A confidence monitor is definitely something needed because that screen is a big screen. If you turn your back to the people for that, you're going to be turning your back and really looking up in an awkward way.
Yeah, we joked on that, and they're like, well, why do you want that? And I said, we don't want people to be like, oh, hi, my name is Zach, and this is what I'm going to talk about today. This screen is large, you're right. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm terrified at the same time because that is I'm pulling up pictures now, but that is it's just a big venue. And I've been in a venue like that as a fan, as an audience member, but to have to go on the stage and be like, oh, hey guys. Yeah. So the companies, those that are out there, we did an info session for this a couple weeks ago. It was like, hey, we know you're probably gonna be nervous. I know I am. I don't know about Tim, but I'm gonna be nervous.
Yeah.
Even though I'm probably gonna know like at least 30% of the people. It's just crazy.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I mean, we're thinking about everything that we can do, pull out all the stops to make it.
I think we learned a lot last year, and I think we've really taken a lot of feedback from that. And I hope people that went last year come again. I hope that people that were involved in it last year apply, and I hope that people in the community and surrounding areas come.
Yep.
It's going to be a hell of a show. We've talked about this ad nauseum, but when you really want to celebrate the businesses in an area in the state of Virginia, you really have to incorporate a lot of them. Well, and that means there's going to be a lot of you're going to learn about a lot of different businesses in a very short amount of time. And we're really excited. We don't want to tell all the little inside baseball, but it's going to be a pretty cool celebration.
Yeah. I will tell you, this is as a founder, if we have people that are going to be traveling 3,000 miles to attend this event, as a founder, yeah, that is that you must attend. I mean, it's just, if it's good enough for someone to travel 3,000, multiple people traveling 3,000 plus miles to attend, then I think that it's a must attend event.
Wow. Is that San Francisco to Virginia Beach? Is that the distance? It's only 3,000 miles. It is.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's a ballpark. I mean, coast to coast kind of thing.
What do you think? I mean, is that your final answer?
I mean, it's close enough for government work.
Let's see. Wow.
San Francisco to Virginia Beach is
2,979.4 miles away. I was
off by 21 miles.
20.6. Wow. Now, in Price is Right rules, it's usually 100 or less is the delta. So, I mean,
But I
you
was
just
over.
won
But I did over.
Oh, you did. Oh, no.
It's a big L.
You were
Big
that
L.
close. Can you imagine on Price is Right being that close, but over? Oh, shiver me timbers.
Yeah.
I've said that twice in the last 2 days. I don't know what it means. So if it's inappropriate, I apologize. I don't know much about it.
It's gonna be a great event. Hoping to get some pizza at the pre-party. Here, there's gonna be a new place open in time.
That's what I hear. I guess we'll find out that night. I
Have
also
a little pizza party.
Okay.
Some bevies, some brewskis.
People can do whatever they desire. This is the walkthrough with the team at Sandler Center. The two women, Melissas. They're both named Melissas, so we we call them Melissas with the Z's. We got Chris Lane with the backpack. He brought all his gear. He's doing everything. Alan Hagerman right here, and the plain white kicks. Great time.
Yeah. And that's one event.
Oh, I just realized that I haven't finished my coffee, and if I don't do this, I'm gonna be up all night. This is gonna be terrible. I don't want to drink this now. I'm terrified.
I got my last of mine here.
So some pretty interesting things. So I've been following along, watching over the last little bit about what Innovate Hampton Roads has been doing as a storytellers of the region, but some really interesting pieces that I think are quite interesting that have happened in the region. One of the things is there's a couple companies that have really started to do some interesting things. I saw SalesE, which was something else before when we interviewed them. They brought on two new team members, but the thing that's really interesting with that is Carl Hewitt, former founder. I guess you're always the founder. Founder, CTO, I believe, of Decisions. He was one of the first judges ever at Start Norfolk. At Start Norfolk 1 back in 2011, which I thought that was pretty cool. That's the only time I think I've ever met the guy, right? But pretty cool that he's still active in the community. I saw that Ruben Education, shout out to Danny Ruben, they a couple months ago, I think, got into Miami-Dade County for his platform, which is a top 10 city, top 3. Okay. Miami is the third largest market in the country. Is that true? Really?
The third largest school district, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So that was cool to see that. And then I noticed that now he's in Philadelphia as well. That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that a guy that went to school to be on TV learned a lot about that situation and said, oh, you know what? I feel like there's this piece missing, and is now giving, is providing this resource to the school system so that these individuals can really just learn how to talk to each other in a professional kind of way. I think that's a hell of a story, and I'm really excited for him. I used to work with him.
He bootstrapped the whole and continues to bootstrap the company.
Yeah. It's pretty cool to see him be able to do that. I know it's really rewarding from him. We used to see each other almost every day because we worked together at a TV station, and it's just cool. It's just cool to see him seeing this kind of progress. I'm very excited for him, and to continue.
Well, the two things that stand out, and we have very, very little to do with that success.
Zero success.
The founders, the founders are doing the things that need to be done, but those two companies, SalesE and Ruben, without fail, send us updates on their progress, and we share that story across the community as well. Danny gets it. That's his share your story. Send us your stuff. We have
I accidentally muted you there. I apologize.
I saw that. I didn't want to get in the dance of mute, unmute, mute. I don't know what I said went through or not, but send your stuff in. We'll share it out. It's just better if someone else tells your story for you. Let us toot your horn as opposed to you tooting your own horn.
I believe you are not involved with the organization at this point, but I had a phone call or some sort of conversation with Monique Adams, who was one of the OGs at 757 Angels. And I remember her telling me a story about her husband who worked in commercial real estate, I believe. I might butcher some of this story, but just go with the flow. She said that the organization, they were trying to recruit a business. The commercial real estate firm was trying to recruit a business to the area to be in one of these buildings that he was helping manage, sell, whatever. And they were this close to coming. It was between our area and some other area. And the reason they didn't was because they went on like the local news and all they saw was so much negativity. And it was like, what could happen? Like, what we need to have more positive aspects of it, because a lot of these things are outliers, right? They're not like, I don't think we walk down the streets and actually feel like crazy. Now, maybe some other people do, but like, people say, oh, downtown Norfolk's so dangerous. I was just there. It was fine. Like, it just seems kind of crazy. But anyway, so you see these negative stories, right? Yeah. And it was like the opposite of that is like, okay, like no one knows that there's these positive aspects of these companies. Like I made the comment at the meeting this morning. It was like, you know how hard it is to get on TV these days with a positive story? I mean, it's pretty damn hard. So for us to have gotten on that to showcase the World Cup, and then they said, can we have you back?
Yeah.
Like that's what I think the organization is from the storytelling standpoint. It's like, this is going to be a positive thing. So if you want to get your words out there, your thoughts out there, your messaging out there, there's not going to be a negative spin on that. And I think that's great because if I was to ever take over a news organization, the first thing I would do is eliminate all the negativity. I think it can work. I just don't know why they don't. But yeah, so Innovate Hampton Roads from a news story, from a storytelling standpoint, is going to be positive, and I really appreciate that because I think whether it was back in the day when I was doing hatch things, it's always positive. Sure, at the State of the Startup Community Address, we had the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Right. And we weren't afraid to shy away from those things. But like, usually that wasn't company focused. That was something else.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned all that. Because I did receive a press release yesterday, day before, and some organizations have picked it up. I think it's going to be published tomorrow. I'll finish it up and publish it tomorrow. But yeah, it's a not a negative, a real positive story. So I don't know. I'm torn a little bit. I don't, as we stay clear of all the hot topics. Stay away from politics. We stay away from all that. But it's a story based on the tariffs, and it's just like I just want to stay out of it. But I am going to show my unbiasedness, and I am just going to put out that press release as it was submitted to me, and we'll press. They took the time to do it. They did some studying. They did some polling. Take them at their word.
I don't recall. I've never seen you do that. It's like Arsenio Hall. That was pretty funny. Okay. Yes, I know who Arsenio Hall is. Okay. Anyway.
I know the guy that just muted himself for the first time.
Now
Episode 265.
Now I just lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. You said this thing last week. I believe it was last week. It was, you got a call from some of the local media asking for your opinion on something.
Yeah.
And I said this last week, and I'll regurgitate it and articulate it again this week. I think you took a really potentially negative, real life scenario that actually is impacting, a lot of people. When pricing changes and it's more money, like in the negative, it's a real deal.
Yeah.
But or people losing positions at their jobs. People, a lot of people went to college to do some of these things in their dreams, and then they lose that opportunity to, in many cases, no fault to their own. And I'm very I feel that for people. And as a human, I think we have to do that. It's like, okay, like that really sucks. But I thought your answer was very interesting. And it was basically something like, yes, this sucks. Yes, this is very difficult, but you have a skill set, and you also have an opportunity now to take that skill set and change the world with it through your lens.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was beautiful. And I think a lot of people are afraid to start a business and stuff like that, but it was well said. And I appreciate
Well, thank you. Thank you. One of the things that has stuck with me, and it's really, really important for us to understand and pay attention to, is scarcity creates innovation. And right now, I mean, our region is facing some headwinds with budget cuts and whatever, but that scarcity is it's going to force you to think differently. And that just like when we go back to, as Zach would say, the cocoa days, the companies that innovated, they did really, really well. The people that sat back and did nothing and watched everything fade away, that was a challenge for them. And, they suffered as a result. So scarcity creates innovation. And this is your time to take advantage of that.
The craziest thing I think of the cocoa days, I think when I say that, people are like, is he talking about COVID? Is he talking about the coronavirus? It became not the coronavirus very quickly. Do you think that's because of the alcohol brand?
I don't know.
Anyway, the craziest thing about the cocoa days, I think I'm the only person who refers to it that way, and I hope I am. I like to be an innovator because scarcity creates innovation. You know what I'm saying? So, yes. How many people refuse to do online meetings, and now none of them want to go back to the other way? So instantly, people were like, I'm not doing this. I can't do this. This is against the rules. And now they're like, hallelujah, I can wear my PJs on a call instantly. It's just crazy how that moved. I don't know how well Zoom and stuff like that are doing these days, but I mean, the amount of time that is wasted on traveling to meet with someone is just astronomical. And not to mention, people don't know how to manage their time well in a meeting. But you can do a bunch of 10-minute calls. You can do a bunch of 20-minute calls where it's harder to do that if you're going to get coffee with someone. You're probably going to be there for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Whether that's a good thing or not.
Yeah, it's the same deal. I mean, the introduction of the old outdoor seating and all that kind of stuff now. So, I mean, if you feel like you're, I don't know.
I'm surprised more people didn't keep the menu thing on there. I thought that was pretty smart, QR code to menu on the phone. That's surprising. When you go on your trip soon, I believe that the cruise lines do that. So you're going to have to bring your phone.
Yeah.
When it becomes your menu.
I'll keep you up to date. So that's what you popped into my head when you were talking about the area and whatnot. So it'll be interesting. We're bringing in, you ready for this? 17 family members.
Holy
shit. To go on this cruise. And we're inviting 17 folks coming in from Michigan and Texas and other places into our backyard, and we're all staying down at the waterside area the night before the cruise. And
oh my God, you can go to the dugout. Get your sugar high.
But yeah, so the downtown Norfolk will be on display for people to take advantage of, and I'm looking forward to it.
I don't know what these things are called. I don't know if you've ever seen it. I feel like I've asked this before. In the waterside portion, the Town Point Park portion of the Elizabeth River Trail, there's this thing called, I think it's called like the letters, the sailor letters or something like
Oh
this.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's a very small monument, if you will, but it's these letters, and they're, I don't know, coppered, and they're kind of like this, where it's not like a piece of paper, but like it lifts off the ground. But there are letters that people wrote to sailors, and the sailor never got that. All these sailors had passed, and they never actually got to receive these letters, is my understanding. And it's just,
for some reason,
really
I was thinking it
touching.
was the other way.
Oh, they did pass?
That the sailors sent the letters and then they passed shortly after. I don't know. Regardless, it's very
something
touching.
like that. Something like that, yeah. And it's just, it's cool to, I mean, it's a terrible thing actually, but it's a nice little monument to those who did a lot for us, and I appreciate that. And it's if they get a chance, they should try to walk the waterside or the Wisconsin, because that thing is obnoxious. I don't know how I did that once. They do like a ghost tour in there now too, where you can spend the night or something.
Well, I don't know, but I can tell you one thing from a holiday light standpoint, Christmas light standpoint, man, the Wisconsin chef's kiss, they do it right. That's a must attend thing. Very well done. Huh. Shout out to Stephen Kirkland and his team at Nauticus on what they do there.
I'm not one to like come up with ideas that don't want to execute on it, but I would love our area to be like the king of Veterans Day parades, or like, I know Nauticus is a Navy museum, but like being like the legit home to these things would be pretty cool if we like really emphasize that in a major kind of way. Because I think when you actually do see them, and if you've ever been into Nauticus, I mean, it's a pretty cool place.
Yep.
To see something like that. And
yeah, they've done they just finished a pretty large renovation and modernized it quite a bit. And they continue doing great things. It's a cool place.
Another I'm one who loves wildness, especially in business. And I recently came across this experience that via the YouTube that it really blew my mind. And it was a title, something along the lines of All American Rejects Get Kicked Off, like cops kick off All American Rejects from Backyard Party.
What they're doing right now, man, it's ridiculous. I mean, what a super wild thing that they've done to re-emerge.
So they are going into, the All American Rejects are going into, I'm not sure if it's college towns, but it seems like it's college towns.
All 50 states, yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know all those logistics. Okay. And they are playing in the backyards of like someone's house.
Dude, do you know
their neighbors?
Well, do you know the neighbors are like renting out ladders for like $250, $300 so that they come into my backyard, I'll rent you my ladder so that you can watch the show.
So they did this. I saw an article, a video, the lead singer, don't know his name, but he said, well, something like he had to play some corporate gig and he was like, it was lame. I didn't want to do it. It's like, we're not back to the roots. The ticket price is too expensive. So let's just play.
The big thing is, I think, this is a revolt against the Ticketmaster service charge craziness.
It's hard not to. And I don't know why so many artists and like organizations and things partner with things that their customers hate. And maybe it's just because they know we're going to buy the tickets. But it's crazy. And so to see what, I think the guy's name's Tyson, to see what the All American Rejects are doing, getting people excited.
It's wild.
And they're just singing backyard parties. Look it up. It's really fascinating. And I'm always just one to be like, okay, like how planned was this? And it was planned, but like I don't
But
think
it
they're
has
getting
taken a real life of its own.
That's what happens with the internet. And so you're able to find those things. And when you do something that's unique like that, and you're, an established band, I mean, they're not really that big anymore. I've seen them in,
yeah.
I saw
the
them on
crazy
a
thing
side
is
stage.
because my daughter Madison is following along with this because Madison grew up with the All American Rejects. We would drive around in the car, and that's where we would jam to back when she was really, really small. So she's following along closely, and
I have a song in my head. I'm not singing it.
Dirty Little Secret.
It wasn't that one, I don't think, but
no.
It's
maybe they'll come to the
just cool
Startup World Cup. Who knows? Play a little pre-party. Just saying.
As I'm looking at my backyard, I'm like, I just always appreciate people that do things differently. A little anarchy, a little wildness in there. So it's cool.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. You and I were not afraid to take chances, and hey,
I mean, most of the things I've ever think about. I mean, most of the things that we've done have been pretty wild things. I mean, State of the Startup Community Address, like, pretty sure still the only organization ever to have done that globally, at least nationally. I remember people used to be like, wow, how are you doing that? I'm like, I don't know. Just like made some slides and told some people to show up. Like, it's not that easy.
I don't know if I've ever really full-baked idea.
What?
I don't know if I've ever done anything with a full-baked idea. Like, really have thought everything through. We seem to build this plane while it's flying many, many times.
I remember like 2-3 weeks before the original start Norfolk, there was very limited seats that had been sold. And then something happened.
Yeah.
Where like 3 weeks before I get a phone call from someone and that clicked and it got in front of enough people, and then 175-ish people showed up. 40 ideas were pitched. I was like, oh, there is something here, And so sometimes you just got to say it enough.
The crazy thing is, man, is just, dude, it takes leadership, and you've really, really got to lean in. And a lot of people, they're afraid to lean in, and then and it shows. So it's too bad. But
so instead, are they like lean back?
Well, I think that it's just one foot on the pier and one on the boat, and they have that. They want to make sure they have a safe landing.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this a little prematurely, but so you talked about your family coming into town. So let's say that your family is coming into town soon, and you could take them to one restaurant in town. What's that one restaurant that you're going to take them to, Mr. Ryan?
Is it that time of the show already?
I said I'm doing it prematurely.
Yeah. It's so my family, they do like the white sauce from Plaza Azteca. Typically, whenever we go up, when we go up to Michigan, we'll buy some chips and salsa with a big container of the white sauce to bring them.
Cool.
I don't know if we're gonna have time this time around, but being in downtown Norfolk, and it's so hard to get into because it's so small. Jack Brown's is a great burger. We've been there a couple times together.
Their entire they might have 17 spots in that whole thing.
Yeah, and I think that's a power play move, man. There's because to anyone that does not know, they may know. The only thing they may know is that there is always a line to get in there. They may not realize that it doesn't take much to create that line, but for the passerby, there is always a line to get in that place.
That's smart. I feel like I gotten really dark on this thing all of a sudden. I don't know what happened.
But yeah, so we got let's shift gears. We have to touch on TechNight. We got that coming a little further on the horizon, October.
Some of the people that I had never met before, I met through that event way back when.
Yeah, so it's like for those that don't know what TechNight is, just think about the Grammys, if you will, for our local technology, innovation, and entrepreneurial ecosystem. And we have some awards that nominations are open, so you nominate somebody. Zach, do you have the award categories handy?
No,
Oh, okay.
but I can. I'll read them. So
Yeah.
I'm just thinking. I almost won the main award in 2012. I didn't. I lost to Joel Need. I remember that. Joel Need. We had his son on with the Kimsville
Yes.
kids.
He was unhappy with your performance, if I remember correctly.
Well, most people are. So, met a lot of people there. Paul Dockery there for the first time, and gosh, maybe Kevin Daisy back then. Like all of these people, because they used to do this. So this is interesting. I don't know that people actually know that this is a thing. So it used to be the Hampton Roads Tech Council, and they used to run this organization. At some point, that turned into HRIC. Don't ask me what that stands for, but we're just going to call it
the Hampton Roads Innovative Collaborative.
For the purposes of my story, we're just going to call it the old Tech Council. Okay. Then you and Dan Bell become close, and he sees what you're doing with Startwheel. I'm saying this from an outsider's perspective, so please stop me when I'm wrong. You got what you're doing with Startwheel, great stuff. You got what the Tech Council is doing, HRIC is doing. It's like, well, what would happen in a perfect world where those two powers combine and create Innovate Hampton Roads? And that's exactly what happened. But during that, even though it's been 2.5 years since that merger, I believe, there has been some excitement, some talk, some chatter about bringing back the 757 TechNight, which is a celebration from an awards perspective, innovation and entrepreneurship in the region. And I know that when I heard about some of this stuff, I was like, oh, that's really touching. So there's a couple categories. I'll just read them all out. Was I wrong in anything I said there about that?
No, that was accurate. And yeah, I will say that in Dan Bell's memory, thought it was a very nice touch that we have the Dan Bell Innovative Tech Builder Award. So that he dedicated a lot to the region, and naming and having this award named after him will ensure that he's remembered forever and ever.
Absolutely. So Entrepreneur of the Year, the Dan Bell Innovative Tech Builder Award, 757 CIO, CTO of the Year, emerging company, technical achievement in government, innovation in education, advancement in defense contracting, startup to watch. And then in the same kind of vein as Dan Bell, another individual, John W. Wynn Regional Innovation Champion Award. Have I ever told you a story about W. Wynn and I?
I think so.
Okay. So when I worked in TV, I worked with his daughter-in-law. Have I told you this story?
I believe so.
Okay. I'm going to tell here anyway.
I'll say that you haven't.
So I'm working with this lady, and we used to go out on news stories a lot. I'm not going to say her name. But she's like, I got to go to my father-in-law's house this weekend, and he is so terrifying. He's so scary. I'm like, oh, why? He's like, oh, he's this big businessman. He's like, he does all this
He didn't pull any punches, that's for sure.
He's just no nonsense, whatever. I'm just like, okay, like, sounds like a cool guy to me, whatever. Unbeknownst to me, that this is actually the dude, one of the dudes behind the Weather Channel and a lot of the innovation and great things, entrepreneurially and business from the Hampton Roads area. I had no idea. Then, somehow, when I get out of TV 3 years later, I learn about this cat. I start having a couple meetings with them. Definitely understand what she was saying in those meetings now. Where the guy's like, let me just stop you right there, Sonny. We ain't doing that. I'm like, okay. And so I don't remember when that came, when I realized it. But I was like, oh, man, that's so funny, because she used to always tell me how this guy was so terrifying.
I tell you, man, he did a lot, not only for this region, but for Virginia. I mean, he was the guy, the catalyst behind Go Virginia. And, man, he really put his money where his mouth was. That's for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and appreciate both of those individuals, Dubby and Dan Bell, and it's nice that a name after them for these awards. I know, for those who knew him or of them, it's hopefully they understand what these individuals did for the greater cause of the of the people.
And that was a great episode that we with Dan Bell on the Fervent Four show when we had him. That was a fun time.
Yeah.
But
200 episode 2, what is this? 266, 265,
265.
Something like that?
Yeah.
So when we talk about this, that's a lot of episodes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would like to shout out to. Yeah, we did not. I would like to shout out to J.P. Morgan Chase as the presenting sponsor for TechNight. That super appreciative to have their support. Yeah, I mean they do. They deal with big numbers, and for them to get behind something like 757 TechNight is, I appreciate that. That means a lot.
That event, October 9th, the Chrysler Museum, downtown-ish, Norfolk, maybe right on the outskirts again. I'd still call it downtown. Part of
the awards themselves are going to be super cool.
Oh, are they?
Oh yeah, very unique. Everyone will be a one of one. Like? There will be no two awards that are identical.
I got a cool. I don't know if you can see it. The turtle sitting in it, but I won an award from Lead Hampton Roads a long time ago. I believe it's the Leadership Award. I don't know why anyone would give me a leadership award. Just saying, I don't think I'm a leader, but I appreciate that. That award's freaking cool.
Yeah,
a lot of times
these awards are awesome.
You know me as a guy who used to give out a championship belt to people. I am not a fan of stupid awards. I think they just become like everything else. Like a stupid tchotchke. I know that awards can cost a lot of money, and that can be a big budgetary limit. But sometimes when you just hand someone a piece of paper or like a paperweight, it's like, come on, guys, I appreciate this, but this doesn't make the impact that it should. People want to showcase something like that. All my other awards are somewhere else, but not that one, because that one's cool. If I had ever won my own championship belt, I would have that too. So nominations are open and ready, and tickets available as well. So a lot of things wrong.
Yeah. Sponsorship opportunities are there. This is, I want to just be really, really clear. This is not a money-making thing for Innovate Hampton Roads. This is about breaking even and celebrating the region. Yeah, it's and for the startup founders. Yeah, with the last thing that I am a very founder-friendly person, as you know, Zach. I never want there to be something in the way between a founder and getting to where they want to be. So we will have some scholarship type of program, if you will, that if you need a ticket, let us know, and we will be working with. Yeah, so to me, there would be nothing worse than someone is a sponsor. They get, say, 10 tickets with that sponsorship package. They know they only are going to have 4 people going, so we're going to take those extra tickets and then we will donate them to founders in the honor of that sponsoring company, and it's a win-win-win because this is a celebration for everybody. So if you're a founder and you're interested in something like that, let us know.
Kevin Griffin said basically this last week, and I know it can be hard for someone to listen to an hour-long conversation for one little nugget, but I read in a book once. Buy that book for $15. If you get one nugget out of it, you implement it, it can be very powerful. I believe he said something like this. You never know what happens when you just show up. You never know what happens when you just start asking how you can help a little bit. And now, I believe he called himself like the guy who is known very well in the Mid-Atlantic from the developer aspect of it. Sure, he's done the conferences and stuff like that too, but it wouldn't have happened had he not driven the 90 minutes up to Richmond all those years ago to attend something that didn't happen here.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times people will see us talking, they'll see someone else, and they'll always find a reason why they shouldn't.
You can always find that reason too.
And I just would encourage individuals who maybe have that negative first aspect to just maybe once or twice to start. What would happen if maybe I'm misunderstanding what this thing really is?
Yeah.
And what happens if I just show up somewhere, whether it be the World Cup, to TechNight, to something else? It doesn't have to do anything that associated with those two things. But what would happen if I just went in there with a little bit different of an attitude, with a smile, willing to meet and help other people? What could happen in that situation?
Well, if I can build onto that, Zach.
Please do.
When you attend to that, I guarantee you're going to be leaving with more than just one nugget by attending at these events. So here's your nugget for this episode. Take that, go to an event, and I guarantee you're going to walk away with many, many more nuggets. In addition to, you never know who you're going to run into and meet.
Your next customer, maybe you're trying to raise money and you just happen to sit by a guy who's got a checkbook in his hand. People still write checks. Yep. Or is it like Venmo? How many people do? And then,
yeah.
You just never know. And I really just think that that's a bad attitude to live by.
I tell you, one thing, dude, I just listened to, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and the thing that was wild was like, he was saying, I live my life as if paparazzi is following me everywhere, or a documentary crew is following me everywhere. And, that will change your perspective on how you live. And you think about that and you're like, man, yeah. How would you feel if you had a camera crew and you're just sitting on your couch, watching YouTube or scrolling through whatever? It's just
from a positivity standpoint, he does this.
Yeah.
Who was it?
It was Rogan.
Well, I mean, he probably does though.
Yeah, but in terms of he was talking about like when he was like his success and fame being a very slow drip. It wasn't like he became famous overnight, and it took a long time for him to get to where he is. But
I mean,
just to stay on the right path, that's how he is.
As someone who has quit many things, and I look back and I'm like, I probably should have held that on a little longer. But also, I like to retire things while they're still at the top as well. But I mean, he started his podcast. He's in the 2000s now.
Yeah,
I think.
Yep.
Right. 15 years ago. I mean, do you know how difficult it was to start a podcast 15 years ago? It's like hearing the guy from Strava talk about how difficult that thing was when they started. It's just like, or watching the Yellow Dog. Someone just talked about Tom Green the other day, and how like
he had to shut his stuff down because his hosting bill was like in the tens of thousands of dollars.
People have no idea how easy this stuff is now. Like the actual creation of something is monumentally easier than ever before. It's mind blowing to me.
And the thing is, it's a repetition. It's repetition and having the passion in the thing that you're doing.
The dopamine of like the IG give me like that love type of thing. We anticipate that that's it, or because we'll see someone post and be like, oh, in 13 days I did this. I call BS on most of those things, right? Because I think they're lying. But it's like, who cares? Like, that's why whenever someone's like, well, let me see your SWOT analysis for your competitive advantage or your competitors, whatever. Like, I just don't care about those things because I can't worry about those things. I got to worry about my customers.
Do you think people really know? Do you think people really know their numbers in terms of like their reach, their web traffic? Do you think people know their numbers? Do you think they just are guessing at those numbers, or do you think they have no idea? Because I know how hard we work. Just not because we're trying to hit any particular number, but we just want to make sure that what we're doing is working for the benefit of the founder. And I just know how hard we work. It's hard. It's not easy.
As a numbers guy, as a marketing guy, numbers are everything to me.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you don't know where you are, you don't know where you are. You wouldn't drive to a place without turning on your GPS.
And I do it not because I don't know how to get there. I'm doing it because if there's a faster way, I want to know. If there's an accident, if there's traffic, I want to know.
It's kind of like the mirror effect, if you will. I don't know if it's really a mirror, but like looking in the mirror type of thing. I think people are afraid to look in the mirror and really look. I think that's difficult from a positive and from a negative perspective. But that's something that I've always like, I guess it's just been instilled in me, or maybe I learned it. I don't know. But like, I remember like coaching the swim team many years ago. We lost the championship by 3 points. It was like, okay, like be mad for a couple moments, but what do you need to do next year to not lose again? And guess what? We won the title. But it's like, if you don't know those numbers, if you don't know why this happened, could I have just changed one little thing and we would have won? Had this one little thing happened over here, could that have been the difference? Yes. And that's the answer. But if you don't know that data, imagine if it's something so simple as like, I didn't actually click this toggle on, and that's everything. But because you're so afraid to actually know the truth.
I mean, that's the thing, dude. That's been my whole life. From a financial standpoint, like just the understanding of compounding and the compounding effects of money.
But that same thing is business. Right. Removing the money aspect of it, just looking at the compounding interest. Like, imagine if you meet 5 new people every day, or you reach out to 5 new people every day. At the end of the year, whatever that is, let's say you take a couple weeks off, right? 50 times 5. I don't want to do the math, but that's a lot more people, over 1,000 people that you're going to meet or have conversations with that you never did. And all you had to do was spend 5 minutes doing it.
Well, I mean, it's just, I mean, me telling my kids right now, because they're to that age, I'm like, guys, you save $100 a month from 25 to 65. That will turn into $1.1 million based on historical rates. $100 a month. And it's just, I always joke, man. I'm like, dude, my go-to peanut butter and jelly for lunch. A lot of times when I go to coffee, as we've talked about on the show, not a super big fan of Starbucks. I'll take my own cup of coffee to the meeting. I mean, it's just like, nice. And I mean, it's just $100 a month, 25 to 65, over $1 million. So just trying to instill that, but it's numbers, man. You just you got to measure it, and boy, it doesn't start growing until it starts to grow, and then you're and it's the same thing with us with the audience reach that we have, and we talked about that ad nauseum about running.
You're running, yeah. I mean that.
Your fast days today will be your slow days tomorrow, and it doesn't seem like it would be possible, but man, if it doesn't happen.
It all comes back to those reps.
Shoot your shot.
Shout out J Cal for saying it the way that he did. Because I feel like we always talked about reps, or maybe he's the one who brought up reps. Yeah. But I feel like ever since that episode 100, which seems like, wow, we've done 160.
How many shots did I have to take to get that show to happen? He made fun of me on the show. He's like, dude, I had to say yes, others did, just to get him to stop bothering me.
Dude, okay, so Brittany and Dave Paragraph met from Where to Wheel, met J Cal that day at
they're in this accelerator right now.
And and then I was just talking to them the other day.
They were on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, they were? Cool. I was asking Brittany if they were going to be at the World Cup. She said, no, we can't. We're actually pitching to Google that day. I was like, that's cool. But
all because they showed up to start Peninsula. I meant to write an article on that when they were on This Week in Startups, because like the second or third word out of Brittany's mouth was, yeah, we met at Start Peninsula. I'm like, how about that? Start Peninsula getting a shout out on This Week in Startups in the top 10 of.
You should do an article on that.
Yeah, I have been meaning to.
Based on this last 10 minutes, like, and you just never like. It's the Nike slogan. It's just do it. Just show up,
dude.
Tim, great to see you.
Yeah.
Episode 265. Looking forward to the next 265. And, we've only done a handful of these solos. So this was our worst one yet, but, we'll get better.
No, I don't believe that for a second. The thing that's just interesting is how much we do talk to each other now. So I feel like we're always talking, but just everybody could eavesdrop, hear what we're talking. We don't talk about anything different when we're, well, typically when we do talk, we're in front of a camera because we're on the FaceTime, but
Inside
always
baseball,
a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Like, subscribe, download, and make sure that you show up to Startup World Cup. Innovate757.org/Startup World Cup, Virginia. Not
Get those nominations in for TechNight. It's happening, baby. It's happening.
I don't know if that's right at all. But
2 up and 2 down.
That was correct. Oh, you should do that now. This will be the thumbnail. That was the funniest thing I've ever done. Oh, boy.